brand new Apex accounts that I am going to see if we can make some progress this evening. I have two Take Profit Trader accounts that are past. One that I can't activate until tomorrow morning, and then another that I won't be able to activate until Tuesday morning because I just made a kind of micro trade just to pass the account and get the 5th trading day with them. Although I don't really know what was going on because it immediately went to $44 when I was on micros earlier. But anyways. Let's see what we got going on. I don't know that anybody's going to actually join this live stream. That's fine. For now, we are just watching. I have not been trading very much in the last month or so. Just been so busy with other things. My handful of accounts that I had unfortunately were blown, and so I kind of just took a break. I might try a bounce off of this 21 EMA here to the downside. See what this does, how this candle closes. If you don't know and you haven't watched any of my videos, I primarily only make plays off this 21 EMA, which is the blue line that you see there. So I will go kind of back and forth everywhere from 10 minutes all the way down to 1 minute. It just depends on what's going on. So right now this is just quite choppy, so not a whole lot to look at here. But as you can see, if I just go back a little ways, this is the 3 minute. You can see how we came down and we kind of like bounce off the 21 EMA and we stay underneath it this whole time, just kind of bouncing. You can move around between these different time zones, and what you're looking for is when we're going in a certain direction. So we're going, say, up here, right? You're looking for the time frame where we kind of perfectly bounce off of the line and don't go really past it. Like none of these closed below this. I ideally like to find where they literally bounce. Let's see if we can find a good example. Like this is closer. As this uptrend was happening here, this came down. It never crossed that line, but as it kind of comes down and gets close to it, it rejects and goes the other direction. Even here, came down, rejected, went all the way up. So this is typically what I look for. So it does require us to start picking a direction. Right now we're kind of sideways, so be a little bit of a gamble to really get in. However, sometimes if you go down to the lower time frames, you start to see what we're gonna do. Obviously we made a high, now we've made a lower high. I would assume we're gonna continue to the downside. This is trending down here at least, short term. So anyways, right now we're just kind of watching. see. I am also trying out TradeSync, which I've never used before. So, hoping I don't get a bunch of problems with that. I've had problems with trade copiers in the past, so we'll see. See what happens. Again, these are brand new Apex accounts. I'm still not a huge fan of Apex. I think that their recent change in their program is better than it was, at least. I'm all for end of day trailing drawdown instead of intraday. I don't really know if their payouts have gotten much better. Like people, they say no denials, but anyways, I haven't really used them in a while. I've been sticking with Take Profit, Trader, and with a couple others, Lucid and stuff. So I've got 2 Take Profit Trader accounts that go to pro accounts technically tomorrow. I have to wait, even though tonight's the market open, their systems doesn't update until midnight tonight. And so, well, I don't even think it's midnight. I think once the next day comes around, their team has to actually manually basically give credits for the no fee activation. So I'm just waiting on that. And then I'll trade those tomorrow. So I figured while I'm here, might as well see what the market's gonna do. So I started 5 Apex accounts, just the 25K accounts, just to see what we can make happen. So I used to do a ton of trading with supply and demand. This would be actually a great supply and demand play, so I still kind of notice them when I'm trading. We had a high, a higher low, and then as we went higher, we broke this, so we continued higher, and now we have pulled back into this zone right here. So technically, if you're playing those kind of trades, could have taken this here and at least rode it up into here, the 420s, I would imagine. But I found I was getting burned too much, and what seemed like really good setups like this would kind of go part of the way there and then just reverse on me, and it just didn't seem like it was super consistent, and so I stopped trading that way. For a while I switched to just kind of taking base hits, so I was still, I would have taken this trade, but instead of trying to go to the most recent high or something like that, I would have just looked for X amount of points, or say $200 or something like that, just to kind of get a tiny bit of the move. But I just don't have the time to sit and stare at my computer all day long during the week, nor do I want to. I enjoy trading, but I just don't want to sit and stare all day. So I choose to find these setups off the 21 EMA, and that allows me really just to take one trade sometimes a day and get decent profit and kind of walk away and not really think about it anymore the rest of the week or the rest of the day. I had gotten to a place where I was spending way too much time thinking about trading, and we all know the psychological issues with that of it can be just so draining if you have bad days or make very stupid decisions, which we all do. We all break our own rules, we all cause problems for ourselves, and if we would just stick to what we know is true, then we'd be a lot better off. So anyways, so it looks like, again, had I taken that supply and demand trade there, would have been a decent little move, but just not what I'm looking for. I actually need to look at Apex's newest rules to make sure I'm not missing something. See, there's at least one person in the live stream here. If you are there still, what do you typically trade? Do you trade any particular prop firms? Do you have certain setups you look for? How do you feel like you do with following your rules? Do you even have rules? I traded for a long time with no rules and just kind of did whatever I wanted, and obviously had some success and got lots of payouts, but had lots of blown accounts, and I got really, really tired of that and just decided I had to get better, and the only way to do that was just to start doing way less. So anyways, if you're there, what are your thoughts? Almost up into those 420s where I thought. Yeah, so what I'll do is I need to find a better time. Is it here? This is the tricky part, is we've not really had a pullback yet, so what you can normally do is, so I'm on the lowest that I'll go 1 minute, and if this starts to pull back, let's see, yeah, if this starts to pull back enough, like this isn't quite a pullback yet, and it starts coming near this 21 EMA, I'll kind of wait to see how this closes. If we close and seem like we're rejecting off of this 1 minute, because we've had plenty of other times that it's respected it previously off the 1 minute, then you could take an entry there. If it closes below it, then you can then just go up in the time frame. So as you see, the 2 minute time frame made this line further away from our candle. And you're basically just going to keep following it until it actually rejects off of the line and doesn't blow through it. And you will eventually hit the place that it is, the time frame that it's going to actually reject and continue to the upside. Again, assuming we're actually moving to the upside and this isn't just us staying in some kind of range. Either way, I'm not looking for like a massive move. So if this does come down and say we bounce off of this 21 EMA, I could take it and even just look for a small move to the upside, get out, and then just wait for another bounce later. So that's kind of what I'm doing. Which it did not. I don't think I can go down to in a bigger time frame, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we haven't even had a pullback yet, right? We've just been moving to the upside and we're ebbing and flowing. So it's really just on the smaller time frames that we've had any version of a pullback. That is the one thing I like about trading is there are tons of different strategies you could do. I tried so many things. Like this is a weird one on like the 1 minute. Again, it does not always work. Nothing always works, but let's see if I can show a good example here. So like in this case, sometimes what I'll do is look for 3 white candles, which most candles for people, this would be, the white would be green, the blue I have would be red. I just have these for psychological reasons. I found that staring at red candles affected my trading. You get emotional. And so I switched it to white and blue. Let's see what happens here. And then I'll continue explaining. It's kind of a rejection there. The idea here is you let it show its hand. Again, this is not perfect, and you will lose trades. I'm doing a little bit riskier of a trade in the sense that I look for a somewhat of a rejection off of the line. If it does it, I will put my stop just below kind of the lowest that we went, in an assumption that that was the low. So then if we come down and we plow through this, which looks like we will, then I'll go to a higher time frame and can try again. And again, this is riskier, but one good trade like this, one that goes in my favor, will outweigh the loss here. So. And I am a big fan of moving my stop to break even once a trade's actually moved in my direction at all, just because I would rather have bad luck and get stopped out at break even than lose trades. So as you see, this pretty nicely bounced off of that. Let's hope it can continue up and break this spot here. And then I'll basically would love it to just get up to where my take profit is. So. I'm gonna wait for it to break this little top right here, assuming it does, just because we can pull back a little and I don't want to get stopped out early. So I'll let it fight it for a second. As soon as we get past it, I'll go ahead and move my stop to break even. Because I'm on the 1 minute time frame, if things slow down, like if we actually move up but we slow down and we're not looking like we're just going to plow through this, a lot of times I'll just move my stop up to this kind of top here and just go ahead and at least take the $200-ish that it's given me. But let's just see what it does for a minute, because we are clearly, at least in this low time frame, right, in an uptrend. We got a low, a higher low. If you want to call this a higher low, another higher low. So theoretically, we should continue in this direction. Almost there. And I mentioned earlier, I just started using TradeSync, and this is literally the first trade that I'm doing on it. So as soon as this closes, assuming we get there, come on, I will go check TradeSync just to make sure that it actually closes out of everything. For any of you who are watching, do you guys use any kind of trade copier? If so, what are your opinions? I've used, oh my gosh, what's it called? My brain does not want to work tonight. I have used a couple of them, and I've had horror stories of accounts not closing, and then, or me trying to close trades turned into trades drastically, or like flipping on me and going the opposite direction, and I don't know, just blown accounts that shouldn't have blown accounts because I took good trades. So I've not had good luck, but I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that TradeSync will solve all of my problems. All of them, not just trading problems. Come on, just push through there. Actually, what I'm gonna do is this. Alright. Let me check TradeSync. Hey, it worked flawlessly. Alrighty then. Well, that is one trade. And so now I'll look at, so I see this 2-minute time frame actually would have been a little bit better because we literally bounced right off the 21 EMA. And so it's a pretty good indication. Again, none of this is 100%, but it's a pretty good indication that we will bounce off of it again, especially if this 21 EMA continues in this upward motion and doesn't flatline again. So now all we have to do is wait for this to pull back and touch it again. We do the same thing as long as it closes, or again, I'm being riskier with these right now. I'm taking them as they bounce as long as they give me some kind of rejection. I teach that you should wait for this candle to close and then enter. But these are literally brand new Apex accounts that I am okay being a little bit risky with just to see what the market's giving me. Why would I trade in a Monday open? Because I have never had problems trading this 5 p.m. window. You're gonna make smaller moves, but there is tons of money to be made. As a matter of fact, over the last, I don't know, 4 months or so, maybe longer, most of my trading has been done at this 5 p.m. Central Time for me, to 7:30 Central Time, anywhere in that time frame. And I've been able to make all the money that I wanted to in that 2-hour window and not have to look at or think about it the next day at all. So I prefer that. Again, I'm not trying to be I used to think I wanted to be a day trader all day for a living, and no knock against anybody that wants to, but I just have so many other things I enjoy doing, that I love doing, and if I can make, you know, a couple $1,000 extra a month, making a couple of small trades at night, like really think about this. I have, granted, these are test accounts right now, you know, but 5 Apex accounts. If I do what I just did just now, and that's it, I call it quits for the day, and I could do this every day, you know. Granted, we all know that's not possible to have a 100% win rate, but you know, that was almost $600. It's $586 on most of the accounts. 2 of them had $581. So, I mean, what is that? 581 times 5. That's almost $3,000 a day. If you could do that even 3 days out of the week, that's a pretty nice payout. You can do a fraction of that, and that's all I'm looking for, you know. So if you're wanting to make $10, $20, $30,000, you know, every day, every week, it is doable in the market. It's just not what I want to do, you know. So this 5 p.m. open for me, it tends to do what I need. So here I am. I am very aware that it can also do all kinds of crazy things at this point too. Let's see. Again, I don't trade with Apex all that often. 1,500, right? Okay. These are just 25K accounts, so the profit target is 1,500, so 33% of the way there, a little more than that. And you can pass in one day with Apex, so. A lot of rejection up here. Which before I was just looking over here, so which is why I went ahead and moved my take profit up a little bit higher, and then was just gonna trail, and that way if it spiked and got it, great, and if it doesn't, then I at least don't lose the profit that had been gained. So see what this does as we get kind of over this area. I'm assuming from the question, if you're still here in the live stream, that you are against trading the open. What is your take on that? This will be the tricky part here, is if we don't break through this kind of red line that I've drawn, where we've clearly had some resistance, then if it comes down to this 21 EMA, it very well may not be a pullback any longer, and could be us going in the other direction. And so have to decide whether it's worth getting in or not. Wasn't quite a liquidity sweep either. Would have been nice had it spiked up here or something. I would have actually probably taken it in the other direction, but alright, if you're still in the live stream and I asked this earlier, don't know if anybody's actively a trader or not, or just enjoy watching other people trade, but have you ever used a trade copier? And if so, what is your experience? This open every evening can be pretty slow. You know, candles are not moving anywhere near as much as they do at the New York Open, but this is typically why I will do this one trade would normally be it. But I'm going to stick around and just see if we can't catch at least one more and at least get over 1,000 tonight, and then maybe tomorrow after the market settles a little bit, try and get the last little 500, but had I been on this 2-minute time frame earlier instead of that one, I could have gotten that sniper entry. Although we didn't do bad, lots of resistance. So again, we have from earlier, although it's the 2-minute time frame, so supply and demand, as well as fair value gap right here. What's nice is this does happen pretty frequently. These fair value gaps in a supply and demand zone or around it, right about now would be perfect for this to come down and actually touch this and pull hard back, because it's basically filling this gap. but it's just extra confirmation because you'll have fair value gap and our 21 EMA. Sometimes even spikes a little bit down into this zone. So there's 3 kind of confirmations there to take it. So I will watch for that. Would be nice, but it is also, again, kind of wishful. So we kind of actually got a bounce off the 1 minute, but, or sorry, yeah, the 1 minute. I do love the 2 to 3 minute time frames. I find myself in them a lot where they're kind of, I think 1 minute sometimes is too fast paced for me, especially not so much in this time of the day, but for sure in the New York Open that I just don't care for. It can swing way too much for me. But the 2 to 3 minute feels like it slows it down just enough, but not too much like the 5 minute. So another thing that I see a lot happen when it does this, now granted it's a little bit different with this kind of resistance that we got going on up here, but a lot of times when we get this sideways, it's like almost waiting for this 21 EMA to catch up to it. And then it'll come down and touch it, and that's a great entry as well. But it looks like we might possibly break out of this now. See if it can make up its mind. Yeah, I said this earlier, but the only thing that makes me nervous is that it's just not broken through that. So every time we've hit it previously, I guess here it came back up and tried again, but then we moved quite a bit to the downside. We came back up, couldn't break through it again. That's a pretty decent move to the down. Now we're back up here trying it again, can't break through. So it does make me a little nervous if this does pull back to the 21 to try and enter. kind of past the... Let me see here. Yeah, we're kind of past the moment of this being a really good setup on having that fair value gap, so it looks like it's gonna try and break through this. There it goes. Man, when I first started trading prop firms, I did a lot of breakout trades, so I would have hopped on this so quick. Alright, if you are here, we're just waiting for a pullback at this point. Now that we broke through this resistance level, I'm curious. I recently, just actually today, this is my first time just trying out TradeSync, which is a trade copier. Have you used a trade copier, and if so, which ones? And do you like them? Have you had problems with them? I have historically had a lot of problems with trade copiers, and so I've kind of stayed away from them, but trying to get back into leveraging, having more accounts and taking less trades. So needing to find something that works really well. And so far, at least, TradeSync has worked great this evening. But would love to hear if you've got something better. Still got 100-ish, not quite 100. We could go. There's nothing this way. Yep. Yep. Would love a pullback. What would be a great entry is if our 21 EMA here can line up with this red line that we drew, and it could really be, let's say, anywhere in this area. So that is what we're looking for. Yep, I'm gonna wait for that blue line to get into that box and price to come down to it. Not a guarantee, but it would be a good setup. And then we've still got room. We can ride it up before we get to this high up here. And it may not pull back at all, because that happens too. Could just keep going. And that could have been its pullback right there. See if there's anything. Not really. Actually, do not need these. What kind of prop firms do you guys like? You have a favorite? Anything you absolutely hate? I used to not be a fan of Apex at all. Giving them a shot again now that they've kind of revamped some of their stuff. Love some end of day drawdown instead of trailing intraday. I think if Take Profit Trader would shrink their time frame where you didn't have to have 5 days, I would still probably like it the most, just simply because of the no max on what you could take as profit payouts. Although honestly it really doesn't matter, because I've done plenty where I could, withdraw one to say $3,000 a payout, and if you're consistent, you can, who doesn't want an extra $1,000 to $3,000 a week, right? If you can only take payouts every 5 days or so. So nobody complaining about that. The big problem is just that we go and we see tons of people on YouTube who are either claiming they're making or are making, $10, $20,000 payouts all the time, and or more. And not that it can't be done, because it definitely can, but it is just probably not realistic for most of us. Nor do I want the stress and everything that comes with it. So, all right, our 21 EMA is almost into this box, and we're still stalling, which is a good sign. Again, I said this earlier, this tends to happen. It can go sideways a little bit while it almost feels like it's waiting for the 21 EMA to catch up to it. And so if we can pull back, let me check. Dang. That's the only thing I don't like, is now we have bounced off of this 1 minute before as well. I just like this setup a whole lot more. What is this? Let's go. Dang. That's tempting. I think it's worth trying. If it bounces here, that could be the whole move, because there is a fair value gap right here, and that would be about the middle of it. And I could just set a stop loss down here below this zone that I'm kind of wanting it to go to. I mean, good news is, either way, if we bounce, whether it's off of around this red line, down here in this box, off our 21 EMA, or right here where we're at, we could enter if we break these highs again. And to me, it's a pretty good indication that we're at least going to go some higher. But I really want... an A+ setup, so I think I'm gonna wait. And just see if maybe we can get the pullback that we actually want. Again, I used to play these breakouts all the time, so like this would have been a great example. I would set literally an entry just like right up here. So as soon as we broke out of just this kind of zone that we're in, I would catch a move to the upside. But I just know my luck right now. If I did that, it would go up, it would tap it, and then it would come down all the way to kind of like the zone that we're looking for, and that's a big loss. Would for sure get rid of all the profit that we've made so far. So all right, so we still have we're gonna go ahead and take that, and then sell here. Again, it still may pull back down here where we actually wanted. And if it does and we get a good rejection, I'm going to add a contract. Again, this little rejection that it gave us, which is in this fair value gap, which is about the same distance. It kind of came down below this line here, so I don't know, we'll see. That's why sometimes being patient and just letting the trade you actually wanted to play out is better, but now we just need some good upward momentum. Get past this here. And we got plenty of room. Would love a big candle, kind of like one of these, one of these, one of these. Just make a big move to the upside, but again, lots of wishful thinking in trading. Need to refill my water. So a lot like this setup that we took earlier. We had this kind of shelf here. We have this little shelf here. If we can kind of get up and break through it, I'll move my stop maybe to break even. It's not quite as far of a move. Depends on how it goes through this, but I can also technically move my stop up kind of below this low, at least. Like limit some of my risk at least. Just go in here. Hoping we can just blow through this, but probably get a little bit of a pullback, which is fine. Again, I'll wait. This is kind of the pullback. I'm hoping we kind of respect the top of this shelf here. And as soon as we kind of show that we've hit that and bounced, I'll move my stop up to break even. If it blows through that and kind of starts coming back down, I still might move my stop to break even just so that we don't lose what we've already got. It's not worth it, but there we go. Let's go. It was these types of trades, though, that used to kill me with Apex. I absolutely hated Apex because of their intraday trailing drawdown. And I would have trade after trade after trade that would do this, where we go up, $400, $500, and then I would move my stop to break even, come all the way back down, hit my stop, so then you've lost $500 essentially, right? You do that 3 times in a row, and your lower accounts, like your 25Ks, are blown at that point. And so, it used to drive me absolutely crazy. I blew so many accounts with literally a positive balance. Never once went in the negative, which is ridiculous. Shouldn't be a thing, which is why I hate intraday trailing drawdown and refuse to trade anybody that has it in the prop firm space, because it's not a real thing if you're trading your own live account. So anyways, pet peeve. All right, come on, give us some push to the upside. What was it? 34.56. Now that the 21 EMA is getting close to my break even point, I am not going to move my stop yet unless we can break above, continue in the upward motion here, because there's always a chance that it comes back down and actually, again, tries to tap the 21 EMA to go higher. So I may just, again, if it comes below this swing low, would not be a good sign. But right now it would be perfectly normal and fine if it does come down to my break-even point or even a tiny bit lower, and it would still be even a valid trade for me. So I don't want to be tapped out for that. If anything, I might even, again, add a contract if we get down there and show some resistance. make up its mind on what it's gonna do. Let's see, with 1 minute, we're at it. Myself a tiny bit more room there, and then slow paced evenings, man. Crazy. It can cause you to make really dumb moves if you're used to the New York Open. Gonna do. All right, just a little bit more to the upside, and I will move to break even because it's kind of shown us its new low. If we break below that, then it would be bad. But I want it to get a tiny bit further if it can. So close. So close to wanting to take off. Don't think it's gonna do it. Although, you know, a lot of times these candles like this, so you see we pulled back, and then this white candle, which is most people's green candle, which is a you know, candle that's normally moving in the up direction, is actually lower than its blue candle, is often a sign of like reversal from the current move that we're in, which we did, right? We came down and then we moved up to a higher high, and then now this has come down again, and this technically went lower, but it's just looking like it's running out of steam. So I don't know what it's gonna do. It is kind of that time until we get to 7 p.m. Central Standard, which is when the next market opens. Is that right? I don't remember if it's 7 or 7:30. Again, I'm normally done trading by now. I normally just take that one trade, but I figured we'd give it a shot, so here we are. We are still in an uptrend, just a very slow one. Let's see what this looks like on. Gotta make a move. This whole consolidation, you just need it to go either direction. Just pick a direction. I hate consolidation. I really probably should leave my stop down here near this red line, as we know that was a big resistance, which now turned support. So that's really our area we don't want to break. I'll feel better as this 21 EMA can get a little bit higher, so that our stop loss is not kind of in danger of reaching it. But again, so far, Trade Syncer copier working fantastic. We'll see once this trade closes. This is what we like to see right here. Would love another this size white candle. Take us that next level higher. Yes, I can explain the logic. This is the only types of trades I really take anymore. This blue line here is a 21 EMA. What's this thing gonna do? 21 EMA, which I have found is a bounce point for a lot of trades. You'll see we went higher, we came down, we tapped off the 21 EMA, and we just got tapped out. So if this candle, for example, right now that we're seeing is to close below this 21 EMA, then that's a sign for me we're going to go the opposite direction, or we're coming down to a lower or a higher time frames, like right here. There, see how that rejected right off of that? I'm actually going to get back in. Put a sell here. Throw one up here for right now while I talk through this. This could still come down and completely go against us, but as you see, we're bouncing off the 21 EMA. So I was on a low time frame, the 2 minute. We went through it, and then we're still, when this candle closes, it still might close above it, which would be fantastic. Again, it might not. This might just plow right back, right back down to the downside. But what I have found is if I can find, once the market starts trending in a direction, where we're bouncing off of, so using time frames. So again, we're on the 2 minute right now, and I was seeing that we were coming down and we were tapping or getting close to it. So then I'll stay on the 2 minute. If we get a candle that breaks through that 2 minute 21 EMA by a lot, then you do what I just did. You go up one, and then you find the 21 EMA, and it came down and it perfectly tapped off of it. So again, not a guarantee that we're still going to continue to the upside. This could still break down, but if you're not looking for giant moves, then you can catch that bounce like that. And you know, I've only got one contract at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is not a lot, but what typically happens with this is all it really needed was to come down and tap this, and now it's got the momentum to move the next level higher. And so I literally will hop into a chart, see which direction we're going. So if we're trending up, then I will go back and forth between the 1 minute, the 2 minute, the 3 minute, the 4 minute, and just find where are we consistently bouncing off of the 21 EMA and not going through it. And once you find that time zone, then you stick there and you try and catch those trades as they bounce. Does that make sense? Again, I kind of stumbled across this by accident of just noticing that we bounced off of things. So like we're seeing right now, it's gonna fail on me, but I tried to go higher, but I still win a very high percentage of these trades, and so to me they're worth risking, if you will, on these bounces. Like I got not the greatest entry. Can't really even see what it is. Let's see. If I would have already been on this 3 minute, I would have actually entered as we got closer to actually tapping this with other, confluences, as in here was a low over here that it seems like we're bouncing off of. Use other confluences. I would say this is still within range of this other red line I had here is a now a support zone. So I just kind of I try and keep it simple, and nowadays I'm just taking trades off the 21 EMA, catching a little bit of a bounce off of them, exiting, and then waiting for the next pullback. That's I am using these accounts right now are Apex prop firm accounts, and so this is the first day with them again, which is why I'm also fine being a little riskier. And so I am logged in with Tradovate accounts here on TradingView. I am just not a fan of Tradovate's platform. I don't care for it. I like TradingView charts, and so I tend to come here, which is why I'm using the TradeSync trade copier. I don't understand what you're asking there. Sell stops order are for bearish. I have this stop here just so that if we basically come back below these lows that we made, I don't want to be in the trade any longer because it's most likely gonna dump past that and come eat up a lot of this space here. And then I'll normally stick another one up here, a sell limit order. I'm just using these basically as my stop loss and take profits. And it's mainly because bracket orders don't work with TradeSync from what I can tell. So you're having to like fake your own bracket orders. That's it. All right. Let me look at this. If we can just break above this kind of shelf where we were bouncing off of tons of times, I'll feel a lot better about moving to. I'm just gonna go ahead and move to break even again. It's fine. Again, I'm already up basically $600 on these 5 accounts. I was just hoping to get one more, at least 500 kind of trade for the evening and call it a night. So if this pans out, great. If it doesn't, I'll at least walk away with the 600 or so. Man, I've tried so many different trading strategies, if you will, over the years. And I just found that I wasn't able to find something that I could be super consistent at. So I talked earlier about, I used to trade supply and demand primarily, and there's just so many nuances to that, and what is a good, supply and a good demand zone, and it can be tricky. I don't know. There was just so much to it that I just found I thought I was making good trades, and those trades would go against me so badly, and it was so frustrating that I literally said, I want to have almost nothing on the chart, and I just want to find almost good support resistance style trading, which is kind of what this is, but I'm just using a EMA to be my support and resistant levels, which is it's averages, right? So I mean, it just makes sense that over time you're going to see naturally price is going to pull back to certain averages. So they tend to line up all the time with other, like you could count this red line here was a resistance level or a support level now. we didn't perfectly tap it, but we were in that zone, right? So if I would have just been purely doing support resistance, this is kind of the same types of trades. I just have a better, to me, support and resistance is very strict, right? It's a straight line across the chart, and it's not always going to work that way, which is why you have these candles all are basically bouncing off of the same support or resistance area, but they're all at different levels, and that's just because of averages. So the 21 EMA kind of handles that for you, and so you can find almost exactly where we're going to bounce. Now, I probably should have gotten out. I was talking when we rejected this high, but again, I'm up for the day. I'm fine with just letting this play out, and if we get it, we get it. If we don't, we don't at this point. But that's a kind of nasty rejection that we got there. I've got nothing against all of the other. There's so many concepts or so many strategies. I honestly think you have to find what works for you, as in what do you see naturally when you look at a chart. Are you able to find trades using one of those strategies? And whichever one it is that you're able to just naturally see, then that's what's going to work best for you. And just, again, so many other styles that I tried, I felt like I got caught in so many fake outs all the time, and it was frustrating, again, because the setups looked so clean. They followed all of my rules, but for whatever reason, the market just went against it. And that can happen with any strategy. This happens all the time with this strategy too. I just feel like I have I know that I have a higher win percentage taking these trades than I do any of the other strategies that I ever took. And that's not so much the strategy, that's just that's what I naturally, I feel like, can see. And intuitively, just from trading NQ and trading gold and trading, other futures markets, you just kind of learn what that specific symbol tends to do. And so, for example, like gold, I started realizing it would swing to a high, and it would then make a swing all the way from that high down to another low, where I feel like NQ doesn't do that as often. We kind of pick a direction and we'll go in that direction for quite a while. So again, all that is just like naturally I've kind of been able to have a feel for the market and for the strategy that I use, which is why I was able to hop back in that trade. It's just literally that, like, I've seen this so many times that I knew it was probably just going down to catch a higher time frames 21 EMA, and so I took a risk on it. And again, we're up, what is this, $200 at the moment. I would normally just take it and take my win, especially that we've kind of chopped around, but I've been trying to be more patient lately and just let trades play out. I had a reason to get in. It hasn't really given me a reason to get out yet. We haven't broken structure. It got close, but it didn't really break it, so I might as well just let it go. I have my stop just slightly above where I entered, so either way, I'm not going to lose money. It's not fun necessarily getting stopped out twice in a row at break even, but especially because, again, this has a high probability of coming down to this 21 EMA, which is about where my stop is now, and could tap and then move higher. So could tap me out and continue on, but I'm not gonna chase this one. This is some pretty heavy consolidation. Let's see what 10 minutes. Anyways, I know I rambled a lot there. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. I don't know if anybody who was asking if I could explain this whole logic of what I was doing is still here. If you go look at some of the YouTube videos I have posted, I did actually do a video that just purely broke down how I used the 21 EMA and had some good examples in there. I mean, obviously a live example like this is always good because you can see it in action. But it would probably make more sense to you if you went and watched that video, just because I had time to think through it and think through how to explain it better than I probably am right now in a live setting. Water's empty. Well, what's it gonna do? It's just gonna rotate back and forth in this little zone here. We got about 20 more minutes until we normally see a little bit of a spike in volume. Oh, what is it, from the Asia session, I believe? Tokyo Open is at 7 Central. Which I know a lot of people that won't trade in this window that I just traded in, the 5 to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. But as I said earlier, I've had a decent amount of success. It's way slower paced. You have to be willing to sit through it, I guess. I don't know. You know, I'm trying to just kind of take base hits right now, but my actual strategy is to take this bounce like we did down here off this 21 EMA and then basically stay in it until we break the 21 EMA, which we've not done. So I could have been in down here and stayed in all the way to where we're at now. So there's plenty of money to be made. I'm just not looking for giant moves and just trying to catch these smaller moves right now and catch a handful of them. Which has been working out great for me, but I really shouldn't have been talking earlier and probably should have got out when we hit resistance up here. That's all right. Maybe it'll give me a second chance and give us a big win. This consolidation after a big move up, you know, a lot of time tends to form a flag pattern, which would typically break out of and move to the upside since we are in an uptrend, but no guarantees. That is for sure. Let's see, what are we at here? Do it again. We're gonna break through this time. We have 470. Might be getting a little too greedy. Still 14 minutes out from open. This thing could very easily just stall around like this until that 7 o'clock open. I hope not. I'd love to see a 3,500 run. Move this up just below it in case it breaks out and gets there. So far, trade copier still looking good. And the one that I used to use in NinjaTrader was the absolute worst. And I blew so many accounts with that trade copier. So I will be so happy if this one works well. Another failed attempt. I don't think I've been in a trade this slow and this long in quite some time. Does it tell me how long this has been going? We got in right here at 18:22, so 30 minutes basically. Feels like. No. 2 or 3, 6, 9, 15, 18, so 25-ish minutes, but all right, is this our breakout? There we go. I like that rejection. Let's go. Just want that to turn white. run up past these highs. Yep, go. There we go. That is a very bullish candle, but go ahead and just capitalize on this. Let this play out. There we go. That's all she wrote. Look at that. $1,040.70. All accounts. That's what I was looking for. $1,000 today. So perfect. Well, I think that's all I got tonight. Just wanted to hop in and see what we could get. So I'll be back at it sometime tomorrow. Probably not New York Open. But thanks for stopping by, and go like, subscribe the channel. Got some more videos I'm gonna post soon. Plan to do some boring live streams like this as well. So see you later.